Hello, everyone, and welcome to the penultimate betting weekly game bet match from the men's singles at the Australian Open. It's the betting podcast brought to you in association with Bet Rivers, your hometown sportsbook. I am Nigel Seeley, and I'm delighted to say, as per usual, at this time of day, I'm joined by our senior ATP Tour handicapper. It is an inform, Sean Calvert. Hitting a bit of form right at the right time. And Sean, we're looking in good shape here, mate. We're looking in good shape.
It's all due to our mate, isn't it, Mr. Hurt? Well, me and Mr. Hur-cash, but basically Hur-cash and my knowledge of Hur-cash and is doing the business for us, isn't it? But yeah, it's nice to get a reasonable run going in a Grand Slam. You know, it's not the easiest time to find value, but I've managed to find a few winning bets. So yeah, that's a good start to the Grand Slam year.
Not only are we talking about my old friend Hubert, as I
Herbert,
like to call him, I am talking about our position on the men's singles. Medvedev.
Yes, that as well. Yeah. It was the perfect result for us last night, wasn't it? Hur-cash covered and Medvedev got through. All right, it was 5 sets, and Medvedev was certainly looking a little bit fatigued, but as I said before, he doesn't really do tired, and he's got 2 sleeps before the semi-final. So yeah, and he's playing a guy who would be utterly exhausted. I thought he'd be running on fumes. So yeah, we're in a decent position on the outrights as well. So yeah, be cheerful, I suppose, is the thing to say.
It's all worked out very well so far, but obviously we're at the semi-final stage, and so far as obviously we got another 2 matches to get through. But we mentioned about the Hur-cash position. Now, anyone who's new to the channel, I know a lot of you have just subscribed over the last few days. Herbert Hur-cash was one of our best picks last year. When he was the player that made us the most money, and this year we're 4-0 on his picks. So we've suddenly become the Hur-cash fan club. Now, Sean, you don't think you're going to get a T-shirt, do you?
I really don't think. I don't think you're going to do it. Is the first thing, and the second thing is I don't think the chances of you doing it and us being next to a bunch of Polish fans at the same tournament, that's not going to happen.
Well, the T-shirt is on its way.
Is it really?
There is going to be a T-shirt. It's the well. We're not going to tell you about it, but when you see the T-shirt, you will be thinking, should I really be wearing this? But anyway, it's on its way, so stay tuned. Well, it's not on its way actually to you delivered yet. It's actually being created. So the T-shirts are.
You're actually doing this, are you?
I am actually doing this because I think we can sell these T-shirts and we can form a Hubert Hur-cashing tickets fan club.
Is that what you put on the T-shirt? I've got to wear it.
Well, we'll wait and see.
It is, isn't it?
Your face on a Polish pole dancer might not look so good on the image that I've seen today. But let me tell you something. You promised that our loyal subscribers and our followers of the channel that you'll be wearing it. So we will
only in certain circumstances. I didn't say I'll just wear it.
It's a 4-0 winner for us. We can't get out of it now. I
said, didn't I, that it has to be with a bunch of Polish fans who are all cheering on Hur-cash at the same time that we've cashed a ticket on Hur-cash. I think those are the stipulations that I made.
That's the easy part. The easy part is getting the Poles to support Hur-cash. The hard part is getting you to wear the T-shirt. That's the hard part.
It depends if it's unacceptable.
Do you like magnolia or pink or sort of a lime color?
What generally are in clothes?
This is clothes. This is the clothing.
Magnolia. Color. I don't even know what that is. That's like an off-white, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's like an off-white with a sort of a twist to it. But lots of different options I can hit here.
I don't mind pink. I don't mind pink. I don't mind pink at all.
There you go. Well, this is coming very soon. Indian Wells. You don't know what's going to. The Herbert Hur-cashing tickets T-shirts will be available on Bet Rivers website. Anyway,
we're going into merchandising with these.
Oh, listen, you love your merch. Can I tell you one thing? I actually worked for a channel in America, and I said hedgings for gardens, and I saw the actual T-shirt on the Vegas Strip. That's true story. How can you believe that? Can you believe that?
That does sound believable, actually, given that it's in Vegas and it's obviously a betting terminology. I could believe that, yeah.
Yeah, didn't sell many. Sold one for me, gift for my dad, gift for my brother, gift for my kids.
Well, that's about as many as you're going to sell of these Hur-cash T-shirts.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm telling you now, the Hur-cash tickets will be flying out the stores. Anyway, let's not talk about that. It's coming up. Indian Wells is very soon, and Sean will be out there sporting our fashion wear
I
here.
did my booking today, actually. It feels like spring. I've been booking Indian Wells transport hours are going to be a good one. Even by my standards, this is going to be.
You've got a $1 bus. Why are you booking $1 bus?
I'm not doing the one. I'm not doing the $1 bus this time. I'm doing something different. I'm
He's
doing
got
like
it.
a bit of a. I'm doing a bit of a different thing this time, but you have to wait and find out what that's going to be.
Oh, listen, we're looking forward to it. All this is coming. You can follow it on the Because We Win Instagram and Twitter accounts. Some really good things coming over the next 3 weeks. But listen, this is about here and now, and we have 2 semi-finals, and we're in good shape in the semi-finals. I'm getting a bit excited about my semi-final positions, but we'll come on to that in a minute. We're going to talk about the first match, which is probably the most eagerly anticipated match of the year so far, but it's definitely most, including last year. We've got an informed Jannik Sinner who's closing the gap on the top. He's up against Novak Djokovic. He's won the last 2 matches against Novak Djokovic, and he's in this match. There's a realistic chance of winning this match and winning this title. Novak Djokovic has complained about an injury like he does in every major, and he's overwhelmed. He's a favourite here, Novak Djokovic, minus 220, nowhere near the kind of price he's been against Sinner before. Sinner is plus 175. The spread is minus 3.5 for Djokovic, minus 115. Jannik Sinner is minus 108 at plus 305. The total is 40.5. Now, these matches will be played on Thursday evening stateside, so the early hours of Friday. And the most important thing, I think, for this match here, Sean, is without doubt the conditions. So before we break down the match, let us know what kind of conditions we're going to have here.
Yeah, as I said the other day, it's going to be a lot cooler on Friday and Saturday, 22 degrees. So more than pleasant conditions. You know, it's not going to be too hot for these guys. They would sign up for 22 degrees on a grand, and that's during the day as well. I imagine this match may well be at night. I don't know about the scheduling yet, but yeah, conditions are fine. Cool, no problem.
Condition defined, the overwhelming head-to-head record is in favour of Djokovic, as you would expect, 4-2. Sinner has won 2 of their last 3. They met 4 times last year. It was 2 wins apiece, but at Wimbledon, Novak Djokovic won that match in straight sets. But really, if you would go back and watch the replay of that match, Sinner had so many opportunities. We were on Sinner to actually win a set in that match. I can remember it. And I remember watching it thinking, he just needs to
on
get
the big points, he tightened up, didn't he? He did tighten up on the big points. He should have won, as you say, at least 1 set in that match. But the big points, the big moments, he wasn't quite there. But that was his, this is only going to be his second Grand Slam semi-final. So experience isn't quite there yet.
What do you think about now? Where's Sinner got to, what has he got to do to win this match? Do you think he can win this match? And where is the value in this match?
I think he can. I mean, first of all, if we could I'm just going to put a stat in here, which I just noticed by looking through my records earlier on, that the last underdog winner, as in priced up as underdog winner in a men's semi-final. Do you know when the last time was at the Australian Open? An underdog won in the semis in the men's?
Ooh, well, it's dominated by Djokovic. It's been, so I would say 2010.
Close. 2012. Only 2 of the last 28 underdogs have won in the men's semi-finals at the Australian Open. So
who were they? Who were they by? Do you know who they were?
Don't know.
I thought you might know.
I didn't bother. I was just looking at the stats. I don't know who they actually were, but yeah, it's going back almost 12 years since we've had certainly 12 years since the last time we had an underdog winner in the men's. But experience is going to count for a lot, isn't it? This is, as I said, this is only Sinner's second major semi-final. You know how many Djokovic has played major semi-finals?
I would say 62.
I like this. I can get
62.
No, not quite that many. 47. It's more than Federer. It's more than Nadal. And he's won 77% of them. So he's never lost an Australian Open semi-final ever. He's only dropped a set 3 times, and he hasn't dropped a set at all in the semi-final since Roger Federer took a set off him in 2016. So to say he's been dominant on this court and he has a big experience advantage is probably putting it mildly. If you look at the head-to-head over the last 3 matches, on the face of it, you think, well, Sinner, he's won 2 of them, but it's a little bit fortunate. You could certainly say, on the stats, you would certainly say that anyway, because on the service points won and return points won total, so those last 3 matches, which were all played on indoor hard, Djokovic 111 to Sinner's 89, and Sinner won 2 of those matches. Djokovic won 60% on second serve compared to Sinner's 50%. Djokovic won 82% on his first serve compared to Sinner's 71%. So how come Sinner won 2 of those matches, you're probably thinking, when he's so far behind on the stats? Well, the simple answer is that Djokovic only took 30% of his breakpoint chances in those matches. Sinner took 56%. So Sinner was by far the better player in the big moments when it counted. He didn't have the better of those matches at all. He was well down on the stats, but he ended up winning 2 of those matches. So if he can continue that quality play in the big moments, which we mentioned a minute ago, he didn't do in times gone by in Wimbledon. If he can, now that he's got that more experience under his belt, he's beaten Djokovic a couple of times recently. It is a skill playing those big points well, isn't it? It's all very well dominating in on your serve and stuff, but the big moments, the set points, the break point chances to serve for the set, those are where this is going to be decided, I feel. And hopefully from an underdog bettor's point of view and from your point of view, I know you're on Sinner, you want him to win this. Hopefully that will stand him in good stead and he can do that again. If you look at this Australian Open so far in terms of the stats, they're absolutely dead level. They've both had on paper, quite comfortable routes through. Djokovic's service points won and return points won total 114. Sinner 114. So nothing to choose from them, between them in terms of what they've done this Australian Open. And perhaps vitally for Sinner, he's going to be fresh, isn't he? Compared to previous times when he's gone 4 and a long 5 and he's come here a bit bedraggled. That stomach issue, by the way, apparently it was just a bit of wind. I don't know whether you read that we were talking about.
I get that quite regularly. I don't do 5 sets of tennis, but I get it quite regularly.
You might, because it was concerning, wasn't it? If you'd back Sinner and he was sort of holding his stomach and all that, you felt like it might have been a pulled muscle or something, but apparently it's just something that he ate. So whether he's just saying that or not, remains to be seen. But I think Sinner's well in this, but I feel like he's got to win the first set to win this match. If you look at Djokovic's record, I'll ask you another quiz question. What do you think Djokovic's record is at the Australian Open when he's won the first set?
Oh, 97% wins.
Pretty much, yeah. 87-1 he is.
Yeah.
87 out of 88 matches at this tournament when he's won the first set. The only player to beat him.
It's got to be Federer on the Dow, isn't it? Federer. No, it's got to be.
It was Stan Wawrinka in the 2014 quarterfinals. Was the last time Djokovic lost from the setup at the Australian Open. So, in many ways, you feel like this is vital for Sinner to get that first set under his belt. If he doesn't, I think it's a real uphill task for him. So, from a betting point of view, I feel like him to win the first set is perhaps the play here. I think it's a plus 132 chance. Bet Rivers 2.3. So I think that's one of the angles that I'm looking at in this one.
But the thing is with these stats, their stats are there to be broken. And obviously Sinner has now come on a level. He's everyone believes that he's the guy who's going to come on and challenge Djokovic and take over at number 1 in the world. Is it sort of a change of the guard? Do you think it's like, have you seen things in Sinner and drops in Djokovic? Do you think it's a change of the guard, or do you think that Djokovic can keep going? Because I look at it and I think it is the change of the guard. You only got to look at social media and see how much optimism is behind Sinner. There's been loads of times where we've seen Sinner once in semi-final. We've seen him in big matches, and there's no optimism. Man, there is some kind of belief now. The Italian fans are behind him. There is he's broken through last year that everyone's suddenly realised this is the boy. And I've been saying it for 2 years on this podcast. He was the man. And like literally everybody, and I've said this countless times because I want to keep saying the point, because a load of people criticised me saying that he was the one who will come through against Alcaraz. And I'm still convinced by that. But is there that time now in sport where we look at a legend and think, right, he's dropping and this kid's coming through?
We've been saying this for years, haven't we?
But we do have it. No, we've had Hur-cash beating Federer at centre court. We've had Nadal losing matches.
Well, the Federer one, I think, was foreseeable, wasn't he? He was getting on for 40 by that stage.
When is the stage where Djokovic is beatable? When is the stage of these? It's got to be soon. It can't. It can't. All the stats will rattle off there, which is fantastic. And they're brilliant. Then they're here in the history. But there must be a stage where the time has come. Can Sinner is Sinner able now, purely from a physical point of view, to be able to match him over 5 sets? Is he got to win 3 sets of love? Is he got to, if he goes 3-2, are we with? How do we play this in play? That's my point, really. I'm
not sure he's going to win 3 out of 5 sets against Djokovic on this court. To be honest, looking at those stats, I mean, I think it's very important that Sinner won 2 of those 3 matches, but he stole them really. He's miles behind on the statistics. It's not even close. For him to have won 2 out of those 3 is very, very remarkable, really. But he played well on the big points. I'm not convinced that he's quite got the 3 out of 5 over Djokovic just yet. I think it's coming. It may well be coming. I'm not sure about the Australian Open. Possibly, maybe at Wimbledon or the US or something like that. I'm just not sure that time is quite here just yet. It could be. I mean, I might be wrong, but I think I obviously feel like he's got a chance, a decent chance against Djokovic. I'm prepared to back him to win the first set. I'm just not totally convinced of him physically. If Rublev had won that second set, which he should have done, I think it was the second set, wasn't it? From 5-1 up in the tiebreak. I think that would have been a really interesting match. I mean, Rublev wasn't good at all. He made far too many unforced errors. Rublev, he wasn't nowhere near his best form. A typical Rublev quarter-final performance, you might say, but I think it would have been interesting if he'd have won that second set against Sinner. You could argue that Sinner's perhaps not had a really close match so far. Has he not even dropped a set, has he, Sinner, so far?
No.
That could be a good thing or it could be a bad thing. I don't know. I'm not sure I quite see him yet winning 3 out of 5 against Djokovic. I feel like he's got a good start in him. Is that belief going to fade away if he doesn't win that first set? That's the question.
Looking ahead to the future, Sean mentioned a point there. Wimbledon, Jannik Sinner is plus 750 currently with Bet Rivers to Wimbledon. Carlos Alcaraz is plus 170. Now there was no, for me, if I was doing my ratings as we stand now, I think Sinner and Alcaraz are on a similar kind of rating. Novak Djokovic plus 140. I think he's going to decline as the season goes on, and Jannik Sinner is going to come good. So maybe look ahead now for Wimbledon for Jannik Sinner. But I'm hoping and praying that you want a camera on me tomorrow, because tomorrow's a big day for me. It's like I've got a big lay on the lay means different to American market. The American market says lay is to put the bet on, the lay the bet. What we do in the UK market, lay is a fade. So the terminology might be slightly different. But I've got a big lay or a fade on Novak Djokovic. Someone's bet Novak Djokovic from me, and I'm quite heavy on Sinner at big price, and I'm heavy on the other two as well. So I want Djokovic beat, so let's see how we go.
I want Djokovic beat.
Yeah, everyone. Everyone
I do want
Djokovic beat. Want him beat.
Yeah, I mean, I personally want from a Medvedev outright point of view, which we'll talk about in a minute. I certainly want Djokovic beat. I think it's possible. I'm not saying he won't do it. I'm not saying he can't do it. He can. I don't know. 3 sets. It's a lot to ask for him against Djokovic on this court. To be honest, I think.
Yeah, I think. No, sorry, I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, I was about done there.
No, I think the lines look spot on, don't they? They look pretty much. And if you were looking for value, the first set, Sinner may be a value wherever he's got the legs to go through it. But it's a really interesting match, and obviously it's the semi-finals. These are on Thursday night. The other semi-final, we just announced another semi-final. We just know another semi-final. But before we go on to the semi-final, obviously Bet Rivers are offering a live profit boost every day of the Australian Open. When you place a wager of at least $25 during a match, you'll receive a 20% profit boost. Limit 1 per day, every day of the tournament. There's only a couple of days left. See the Bet Rivers website for all the full details on the Australian Open Bet and Get. It's a Bet and Get offer available on the Bet Rivers website. Obviously, you can bet live and watch live as well on the stream, but these matches will be on mainstream television as well. But if you want to watch it from your tablet or you want to watch it on your mobile device, have a bet on this match and you better watch it. Sorry, Sean, I interrupted you there.
No, you didn't. I was just saying I just don't think he's going to win like a 5-set match over Djokovic. I'm not sure he's going to do it. I'd be pleasantly surprised if he does. We'll have to see if Sinner's physicality holds up. He worries me. He does worry me when he's wincing and shaking an arm out or a leg out. Is he a physical specimen that could beat Djokovic in a 4.5 hour, 5 hour, 5-setter? I don't know about that. That remains to be seen for me.
Or has he learnt the game? Has he just learnt the game? He's learnt from the master, Djokovic, and playing the ribs and getting psychological game.
Maybe.
He
still need that physical side, though. He's going to be a ton of long rallies in this.
But in that tiebreak against Rublev, he was holding the ribs. He was in trouble, and then all of a sudden Rublev had a meltdown. He smashed him. Maybe that was Rublev, wasn't it?
I think a lot of that was Rublev. I mean, in Rublev's psyche, it doesn't take much to tip him over the edge, does it? He's 5-1 up, and then he made a couple of mistakes, and then his head had gone after that. Once he'd missed a couple of points from 5-1 up, you kind of knew what was coming, because that's Rublev. Djokovic isn't going to do that, is he? 5-1 up in a tiebreak, lose 5 points in a row, whatever it is. It's not going to happen.
Well, it's an intriguing game. You pay your money, you take your choice. I think the prices look about right. Sean thinks the prices look about right. if Sinner is going to win, he's got to win the first set, and there may be a little bit of value on that play there. Is it official pick, Sean, or just a lean?
Yeah, I think it's worth it at the price. It's plus 132. I really do think he's got to win that first set. I cannot see him winning from a set down. He'll probably win it 3-1 from a set down now, but yeah, I think either that, maybe Djokovic to win it 3-1 is another possibility. If you're thinking of backing Djokovic and you think that price is a bit skinny, maybe go for that. But yeah, I think it's worth it. I think Sinner does have certainly the capability to be very, very competitive. I'm just not convinced over the whole duration of the match. So the first set, I think, is the way to go with this one.
We're waiting for the order of play. Head to the Bet Rivers website over the next 24 hours or so. The order of play will be announced, but you've got plenty of time to place a bet. This could potentially be one of the best matches for a generation, actually. It could be the change of the guard. I'm really hoping it can be. I'm a big fan of Jannik Sinner. I'm not so big a fan of Novak Djokovic. I love him as a sports personality. I think he's an unbelievable talent, in probably the greatest tennis player mentally, or the greatest sportsman we've ever seen. But I think I think I would love to see Sinner really go toe to toe with him and actually produce his best tennis and produce a physical specimen as well. And then we have a rebase on the tennis world over the next 2 or 3 years. So I'm looking forward to this match. Really, really intriguing. Obviously, a lot of a stake for me. The next match is an interesting one as well. It's our pick. It's Daniil Medvedev up against Alexander Zverev. Medvedev has come through some epics to get this far, but he still keeps going. He's like the Duracell bunny. If you don't know this in America, just Google the Duracell bunny. It's like a little bunny. You put your Duracell thing. It must be in America, the Duracell bunny. I'm sure it was an American company. But the Duracell, I'm sure it's Duracell was American.
I'm not sure. It could be. I don't know.
But I'm sure it was the bunny. If you don't know the Duracell bunny, or you please let me know.
That goes back a few years, doesn't it? Duracell bunny.
Yeah, I know. No.
Do they still use that in adverts? That's
no. But they went on and on, didn't they? He just kept
they
going.
did.
It was
they
like
did go on and on.
Daniil Medvedev. It was a bit like me with you.
The marketing's so good. You remember it 30 years later.
Remington shaved. Remember him? The Remington. It was so good. He bought the company.
The Remington guy. Yeah.
He was. What was his name? Something
Mr. Remington.
Duval. No, something Duval. I'm going to Google what his name was. He was Dick. Not Dick Duval. I couldn't think of it in a minute. But it was so good. His shave was
so good. He bought the company. Yeah.
Have you ever had a shave? Like, I shaved quite a lot of my hair. Have you ever had a shave? You thought, tell you what, that was so good. I'm going to buy the company.
No, never.
Well, he did. He's laughing. Anyway, let's move on to the Medvedev Alexander Zverev
Probably dead
match.
by now. He looked old.
He was 85.
He looked old.
1985.
Yeah, he's gone. Forget him.
It was so good. His niece has got
so good. His son bought the company.
His niece has got the company. Daniil Medvedev against Alexander Zverev. Unbelievable match today for both of them. Actually, Medvedev come through an absolute epic against Hubert Hur-cash. Zverev come through. Well, he dropped the second. I thought the third set, and we thought, here we go. We could be in trouble here, but he come back really strong. Zverev is serving. His serving stats today were off the charts. Medvedev has got an overwhelming head-to-head record, 12-7 on the head-to-heads. He was really dominant in the head-to-heads. We've spoken about I think we've spoken about this matchup more than any other matchup. I think they played 6 times last year in 2023. 6 times these two played. I don't think there'll be many more matches.
They've played a lot, that's for sure.
5 of them wins with Medvedev won 5 of them. So he has got the sort of advantages against Zverev. But it's an interesting one. Zverev, I know a lot of guys who do the data. And they've bet Zverev. I think I mentioned it earlier part of the week. They think Zverev on the data, he was a great bet. Medvedev's favourite -155.
Against Alcaraz.
No, at the very beginning of the tournament, they picked him up.
Right. This is the guy we backed outright at the last hardcourt major, by the way, isn't it, Zverev? And he couldn't do anything against Alcaraz in the semis because he was so tired after an epic 5-setter against Sinner. This time comes and beats Alcaraz. But anyway, I'm not going to complain about that.
Serving. It's all about serve as well, isn't it? If he serves well, he's got. No one's going to struggle. If he doesn't serve well, he's in trouble. Medvedev is -155. Zverev is +125. The spread's 2.5. The German receives a 2.5 at -124. Zverev -2.5 is evens, and the total is 1 higher than the Djokovic aim, 41.5. I know it might sound high, Sean, but the over there is -108. This is an intriguing match, not only because of the way the two players are coming here, but also the physicality, which is the big question mark of this match, isn't it, really?
It is. I mean, what have these two got left? That's the question. The Zverev match against Alcaraz, I mean, he didn't look the likely winner kind of deep in the fourth, did he? I think he needed to get that break and serve out because he looked to me like he was about to go. physically, Zverev. He looked like he'd pulled up on a run for a drop shot earlier on, like a few minutes prior. But you feel like if he hadn't served that out, because he had the chance to win in straight sets, didn't he? Served for a straight sets win, couldn't do it. Ended up being on the bad end of a incredible tiebreak from Alcaraz, and from there you thought Alcaraz was perhaps going to take over with the physicality. But credit to Zverev, he did really, really well to pull that around. But he looks cooked, Zverev. I mean, Medvedev didn't look great either, did he, against Hur-cash? So what have they got left? I mean, I'm hoping that Medvedev does his, as you say, Duracell bunny thing, and is able to keep going, because he tends to do that, doesn't he? I like the idea here that, I mean, that Zverev has had his best performance. I'm not sure he's going to play that well again. I mean, that was for the first 2.5 sets. He was not a million miles away from unplayable, really. Barely missed a first serve. He was banging in about 80% of them. 85%, I think it was at one stage, and hitting them, at full pace. It wasn't dollying them in. And what a performance. If you're a Zverev fan or backer, I'd be worried. I'd be thinking, I'm not sure he can play that well again. And against an opponent who is going to make him play an absolute ton of balls in Medvedev. I mean, this is going to be a real long grind. Maybe not in the terms of the scoreline. It may just be loads and loads of really long rallies, and maybe one of them will fade and it ends up going under. As far as the head-to-head is concerned, there's not a massive amount. It's not overwhelmingly in favor of Medvedev. Their entire career. I mean, Medvedev's won 11 of the last 13, but Zverev won, I think, 4 or 5 of the first 6, I think, something like that. So the service points won and return points won totals. Medvedev 102.3, Zverev 97.7. So it's not hugely in favor of Medvedev. It's a okay advantage, but not one that you'd think Zverev would struggle to turn around. The issue for Zverev is that he's only won 47% of his second serve points in this matchup. Medvedev's not been great on 51%. But the main problem that Zverev has had in recent times and throughout the history of the matchup is that he's been poor on break points. Zverev's only taken 29% of his break points in this huge series that they've had. And in the last 10 matches of which Medvedev's dominated, he's done even poorly. He's only won 24.6% of his break points. So from a Zverev point of view, number one, he's got to serve about as well as he did against Alcaraz. And he's got to do better on break points, a lot better. 25%, 29%, that's not going to get it done, I don't think, against Medvedev. I think I'm hopeful Medvedev's going to win. I think he's perhaps going to just grind it out. I'm not sure Zverev can play that well. Again, if you're a Zverev backer, you want to get with Zverev in this encounter, I think perhaps the way to go would be to back him to win it -1.5 sets. I can't see him winning it in 5. He can't go 5 again, surely. So I haven't really seen the odds yet, but if you're on Zverev, I think -1.5 sets is the way to go. I'm hopeful that Medvedev can take his legs from him, but this is 2 players here that are kind of at the edges.
Zverev plus 1.5 sets is actually -157. So it's quite a low price, isn't it? Zverev plus 1.5.
I mean, -1.5 sets on Zverev.
Oh, Zverev -1.5 is plus 240.
Yeah. So I can see if Zverev's going to win, I think it's going to be either 3 or 4. That's why I've said -1.5 sets.
Yeah.
On Zverev, I think if I was a Zverev fan or backer, I would certainly do that. I'm not seeing a great deal of value in the money line. I'm hopeful Medvedev can get this done and cash our each way ticket. But
we're in great shape, Sean. We're in great shape.
It's a difficult one because of the fatigue, isn't it? That's the problem with this one.
Yeah, but we've bet an 8-1 shot. 9-1 who's had his troubles through, played till 4 o'clock in the morning. He's got to the semi-final and he's a minus money favourite to make the final. We can't really ask any better than that. I mean,
I'm very happy with the position.
Yeah, we're in very.
I'm just talking about this prop, this actual match as a standalone. I think it's very difficult to bet unless you're going to go with the Zverev kind of dominant win. If you're of that way of thinking,
the market though all the way through this tournament has been quite negative towards Medvedev. If you look at the market,
it's because he hasn't played well at all, really.
And also, I think the market thinks he's going to run out of legs. But there's running into Zverev, I think now the market has to readjust. If he run into Alcaraz, I think the market would be very, very heavily with Alcaraz, thinking that he would.
Yeah, it's a much tougher matchup. This is a much more favourable matchup for Medvedev than Alcaraz. I was delighted when when Zverev won. But I'm just looking at the stats that both these guys have come up with so far this tournament. And Medvedev's only won 46.4% of his second serve points. He's not going to win a major with that, I don't think. He's really going to have to step up his game, and he may well do. You know, he's got a lot of experience at playing these semi-finals at majors now. Zverev's only won 50% of his second serve points, so I think a lot is going to depend on the fatigue. A lot is going to depend on how well they serve. If Zverev serves that well again, he'll be tough to beat. But Medvedev's got a solid record against him, and I'm hopeful of his chances. Yeah, certainly more hopeful than I'd have been against a fresher Alcaraz, that's for sure.
So no pick, just nothing really. No,
there's nothing really that I'm interested in.
You don't have to have a pick. We're at the semi-finals of a major. It's the hardest time in the world to actually bet, to find any value. How wrong can you be when you've got the best, arguably the best 4 players in the world playing each other?
That's tough. Yeah, it's very tough.
So I'm going to put you on the spot, Sean. What's the final going to be?
Medvedev Djokovic.
Got half it right. Medvedev-Sinner. Come on, Jannik. Come on, Medvedev.
I would love it to be Medvedev-Sinner. I think he's got more chance against Sinner than Djokovic, obviously, from a Medvedev point of view. Depending on how the semi-finals go. But yeah, I would love it. I would love Sinner to win the first set. I would love him to beat Novak Djokovic, maybe somewhat like 10-8 in the fifth. And I would love Medvedev to beat Zverev 3-0 in an hour and a half. Yeah, that would be great, but we'll see what happens.
We will see what happens, and you have to follow us all the way through the Australian Open. There's only like one more podcast we've got for the final, which hopefully, for my sake, will be, or Anshul will take, will be Medvedev against Seeley.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, we will take that. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at becausewewin. You can subscribe to this podcast on download our podcast on your preferred podcast provider, and you also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Betting Weekly Studios. Thank you for everybody who has subscribed over this last fortnight. It's been an amazing fortnight. Huge amount of new subscribers, lots of activity on the questions. We're happy to answer any questions. We want to know your bets. We want to know any questions you have for us. We're always more than happy to answer them. Give us your picks as well. So it's been an unbelievable couple of weeks, and hopefully we can really hit the jackpot with a Medvedev-Sinner final, which would be incredible for not only myself and Sean, but for everybody who's followed us here over the last couple of weeks. Sean, before we go, Victor Kiam was the guy who.
Oh yeah, Victor Kiam. Yeah,
he was the owner of the New England Patriots.
Was he really?
America.
He's got to be dead though, right?
Oh, he died at very young, 71. Now, before we go there, Sean, you are somebody.
He looked older than that when he was in his adverts, but anyway,
he was about 35. He looked about 71 then. But let me say something. Now, Sean, you're someone who doesn't really get impressed with anything. Like you're
I wouldn't say that.
Well, sometimes you don't really get. You're not someone who's really impressed. You're always someone who likes to have a little criticism about something.
Yeah.
Have you ever been impressed with anything that you thought, you know what, I'm going to buy the company?
It's an interesting question. You mean a product?
Even if you had the money, like, I'm so impressed that I bought the company. What was you ever? Anything you ever done?
You're putting me on the spot now. I actually think most things that I buy now, they don't do the job. They don't work properly. Whatever you buy now doesn't work. There's always a problem with it. So have I ever been impressed by so much that I would buy the company? I think the answer to that is not that I can remember. No.
Well, let me just go one quick thing. I know you're pushed for time. I purchased a GoPro. I've decided to buy a GoPro to go when we go on our travels, right? So I'm trying to buy.
You doing some mountain biking or downhill skiing?
Oh yeah, I'm changing my. So I'm going to buy some. I'm going to try to go. So I've just tried to buy a cage for the GoPros. This one cage I bought, see-through one.
Yeah.
Another one here, which is another one, a plastic one. I bought another one here. None of them fit my GoPro. So
you see, that's exactly what I just said. Stuff that you buy now doesn't
they're all
work.
$25 to get one of these, right? And I just can't be bothered to send them back.
Why don't they fit that if they're made for a GoPro?
It says GoPro 11, and I've got a GoPro 11, and they don't fit GoPro 11. If anybody knows about GoPro, I need serious help on it. I've got this light and everything. I'm trying to be a blogger.
I'm just wondering what you're intending to do with that. I mean, most people do it on like bike rides and skiing and all that stuff to kind of get people into the sort of,
on a bit of tennis. Look, on a bit of tennis. On a big like.
You don't really need a GoPro for that, do you?
Listen, it's lightweight. It's in your pocket. It's perfect. You can put it down.
You're never
Brilliant.
gonna. I tell you what, you're never gonna get that into a lot of tournaments. They won't let you in with that.
I know. I know.
They'll be like, nope. They don't even let you in with a water bottle.
Does anybody want to buy a GoPro? Message through. They wouldn't let Rory Giovanni in with a sandwich.
T-shirt. No, they don't. They don't let you in with anything. I told you before about the water bottle thing, where they only like you having those $25 ATP official bottles. Anything else? No, you're not bringing that in. They don't. You can't take anything to 10. I have to smuggle things in. That's what I have to do.
You'll be able to smuggle. That's tiny. You might smuggle that in, and not if you get the selfie stick.
Depends.
But I want to look professional. I want to look like when I'm walking around, like professional with it. I see these bloggers and travel bloggers. They look fantastic.
They use GoPros, do they?
Well, some of them do, and I can't. But they're supposed to be.
I thought they were for like action sports where you're kind of zipping down the side of a mountain.
Don't worry about that. No, I'll do all that. I'll go down there.
Yeah, you do that in your Hubert Hur-cash t-shirt, and I'll get some.
That's yours. It's coming your way. Anyway, if anyone wants the Hubert Hur-cash t-shirts, you can get them available on the BetRivers website. But until now, let's hope. It's fingers crossed. Medvedev gets to the final. Hope Sinner gets to the final. Hopefully, we cash some tickets, and we've got a lot to talk about for the final. Sean, enjoy the semi-finals. Hopefully, we can get there, and I look forward to speaking to you with your thoughts for the semi-final for the final. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for subscribing. Have a good day, and we'll speak to you again shortly. Take care.